Hello everyone and welcome to another easy paint with me. So today we are going to be doing something similar to this. This was my practice one, or this is the one I did earlier, as they say. And the palette that I'm going to use today is this little, it's a very slim palette, and the paints that are in here are all Shinhan paints, and the colours that I've got in there are Jaune Brilliant, Cadmium Yellow Pale, Leaf Green, Davies Grey, Olive Green, Turquoise, Cobalt Blue, Lilac, Shell Pink, Brilliant Pink, Vermilion, Neutral Tint, and some white gouache. Well, tell a lie, there's also this gold, Calero gold in there, but I won't be using that today. So I picked this palette because it's got these lovely pastel colours in it. And as you can see, we've got various sections that we're going to be able to paint, and then adding in these little trees and the bits at the front. And some of these Shinhan paints are quite opaque because they're quite pastel colours. Lots of them have got white in them, so they're quite good at going over the top of colours that are underneath. So yes, that's what we will be doing today. So I'm going to lose me. Oh, wrong one. There we go. That was left over from something else. Okay, now we've lost me, and we can make a start. So I've got my water here, and I don't know, I've got a size 8 brush. I'll see how I get on with that. This is a Van Gogh size 8. It's a synthetic round brush. Right, I'm going to start by using my Jaune Brilliant. And I'm just going to get my first layer in. And because it's kind of the sky, I'm going to leave a few white bits that could be clouds. So we've got our first layer there. Then I'm going to take my cobalt blue, but that's probably going to be a bit bright. So I'm just going to add a tiny touch of the neutral tint, just to tone it down slightly, and then plenty of water. And I'm going to get this next layer in. And then I'm going to darken that up a little bit more. And I'm going to get another layer in. So we're just painting layers, and I'm allowing my brush to skip over the page a little bit. It's fine. It kind of adds a bit more interest, I think. And then I want a really, really pale layer. And then I'm going to go darker again. So I'm only using 2 colours so far. And I keep mixing them together in this, well, it's the lid, but I'm using it as a palette. And then I want to get a bit of a line in and the idea that there's some bushes or trees or something. So because this is going into the wet of the paint above it, we will just get a nice little line of something going on. So let's start adding some colour now. And I think I'm going to take the vermilion, but I don't want it as bright as that because this is all quite pastel-y. So I'll add some of the Jaune Brilliant to it so that I get this peachy colour. And I'm going to get this next layer in that is all very peachy. So we're just building up a little landscape here, going back to my darker colour, doing the same as I did before. I'm just allowing this to do its thing. Just with the idea that there's some trees there. Then I'm going to take my Jaune Brilliant on its own. And I'm going to do a bit of a triangle just to ring the changes. And also because that will then echo with the Jaune Brilliant up above. And then maybe we'll take this colour again, really watered down. And we can just have a very thin strip going across. And then we can move on to some green. So I'm going to take my leaf green, which is quite bright. And I'm going to tone that down with some of this paint that I've made over here. And then I'm going to get another little triangle in. So this is not going to look the same as the one before. And then we'll have the leaf green on its own. And we can bring that across. And you'll note that sometimes I literally just add water rather than more paint. And we've got all these lovely blooms going on because we're painting the wet into the wet, basically. So then down below, I want to go back to some of this corally colour. And this is going to be where my flowers are coming from. And I'm also going to add some of the shell pink into that. And then we've got a nice little background for our flowers. So this is all now very wet. So going to dry this next. Okay, there we go. That is now dry. I'm just going to grab a clip because where I've dried that, it's kind of bent a bit. And I did forget to say that the sketchbook that I'm using with these gold rings is Lightwish. So in case you're wondering, it's 300 GSM and it's 100% cotton. Right, so now we can get some of these little trees in and we can start to get our florals in. So I'm going to go down a size. Okay, let's go to this size 2 This is a Princeton Snap, so a much smaller one. And I'm going to use this colour that I made up, that was this grey colour with the cobalt blue and the neutral tint. And I'm just going to add a little bit more neutral tint to it to make it a bit darker. And so let's get these little trees in, so we can have doorbell, hold on. Okay, apologies there, that was a postman with a parcel. Right, where were we? Let's get this little tree in, and we just want a tree shape. We're not trying to you know, make things too realistic. We're just wanting to get a little tree shape in there. And then we want the same over here. We'll pop that one here, I think. And maybe we'll have more than one tree on this one. And then we'll just get some nice little tree shapes going on like that. Maybe a bit more. There we are. So we've got our couple of little trees, and we can even add a little bit more of bushes or something going on. We can just add some dots and dashes. There's that we've got a little bit more going on there. In fact, that kind of looks like a path on this one. That's just how this one's turned out, but that's okay. Right, now let's move on to getting some of our flowers in. So I'm going to use a darker green. I'm using the olive green. So, and you'll see that because I've already got green on my palette, I just mix it. It just means that, you know, all of my colours are going to be fairly cohesive. So let's get some big shapes in to start off with, like so. And we'll have a darker colour. We'll have the neutral tint on its own. And we'll get some of these shapes in. So these are not supposed to look, you know, too brilliant. They're representational, really. So we've got a few of these. I suppose they're almost like cow parsley without the other bits on, aren't they? Right, let's mix up. Let's get a bit more of our pink and add that to this peachy colour that was over here. And then we can get some kind of flower shapes going on. So this is the fun bit, really, where you can put whatever you want in the bottom here. You don't have to put what I'm doing. You can put anything at all. And yeah, I think I'm just going to And, you know, they might just be shapes. So these are just shapes. There we go. We've got a couple there. Now I want to make it a bit more orangey, so let's add a bit more of my vermilion. And we can maybe get some kind of more like reliefs going on. And the good thing is that I'm just using colours that I've already used in the painting, which means that it will all tie in. So we've got that one there, and let's have another one over here. There we go. So we're really starting to build this up, and I think maybe let's add a bit of the Jaune Brilliant to the green that I had mixed there, and then we'll just get a different colour coming up and around. Okay, so let's maybe add even more red. So that these really pop at the front here. And just, and I have no idea what these plants are. I'm just making things up as I go along, so that we've got some variation, really. And then this could be more of a kind of poppy shape. So we've got some kind of poppy shapes going on. And then I think I'm going to mix a bit of the red in with the green. Oh, I went off the page. Yeah, the green that I'd mixed. And this is going to give me a much more muted kind of almost browny colour. And I'm just going to get some bigger leaves in. And you'll notice that these paints do seem to they're more opaque, so they do seem to go over what's underneath a lot easier. Now let's just take some of this dark colour and give those just a little bit of something at the bottom there. And let's add a bit more pink to this one over here. And maybe we can just get a little bit of detail. You might not be able to see that. I'm just putting a line on some of these leaves, the kind of center vein. Let me just If I bring that up, you just might be able to see it's quite discreet, really. And I might even add some of this pink in here just to, you know, give it something else. Okay, what else do we want to do? Well, I didn't do it on this one, but I kind of feel like I want to do it on this one. I'm going to get my bleed proof white out. And I'm going to get some nice little white dots above these kind of cow parsley shapes. Because I think that that will add to those. Okay, and then I think it's what we might call splat time. So I think I'm going to get my bigger brush back again, my size 8. And I'm just going to be using whatever is on my palette, but quite watered down so that it splats quite nicely. And we'll take some of this darker colour as well. And we'll take some of this one. Whatever is on the palette, basically. There. And there, I think we have our little wild flowers at the front there. I mean, as you can see, it is not the same as the one that I did before. But it doesn't matter. Yours won't look like mine either. But I think it's rather effective using these kind of pastel colours. You might have similar colours in another brand. I think White Knights have got some nice pastel colours as well. Right, let's take the tape off. And there we have a rather pretty little summery, hazy landscape with some little wild flowers. I mean, if you wanted to, you could even add a little bee in there, I suppose. But I think that that's rather charming in its own little way. So there we have our easy paint with me on a Sunday, and I do hope that you enjoy it and will join in.